PS Plus Extra subscribers will gain access to 2 Day 1 games this month, with each one being a particularly exciting addition. While Sony may not add first-party games like Marvel's Spider-Man 2 to PS Plus on day 1, it has managed to still get some awesome titles added to the service at launch. Stray, Meet Your Maker, Rogue Legacy 2, and others have all graced the PS Plus service day and date with their release and/or landing on the PlayStation platform. PS Plus Extra subscribers may be in a treat this month though, as they'll be able to play 2 games on day 1 this month. Across PS Plus Premium, PS Plus Extra, and the PS Plus free games for August 2023, subscribers get access to about 2 games in total. It's a solid selection with enough variety and quality to call August a good month, but Moving Out 2 and Sea of Stars stand out as day 1 releases. Moving Out 2 will join PS Plus day 1 on August 15th, alongside the other PS Plus Extra editions, but Sea of Stars won't launch until August 29th. Sea of Stars may be joining late compared to the other PS Plus Extra releases, but the good news is a month filled to the brim with awesome additions. As a sequel, Moving Out 2nd of May not need much of an introduction, but it is possible some folks slept on the first title. The premise of Moving Out 2 is pretty straightforward. In a physics-based moving simulator, players work as a FART, furniture arrangement and relocation technician, to help various denizens of Packmore to pack up and move out. As a sequel, fans can expect beloved characters from the first game return, but there will be new characters to meet too. The same goes for gameplay features. In addition to fun co-op gameplay with online support in Moving Out 2, players will also be able to complete silly, action-oriented challenges outside Packmore, thanks to the assistance of interdimensional portals. There is also an assist mode, a wide swathe of accessibility options, various skins, and more. Everything comes together for an exciting game package, as according to OpenCritic, Moving Out 2 currently has a strong rating with 95% of critics recommending it, with a top critic average of 83. Sea of Stars may not have reviews out yet, it's a tad bit too early, but many gamers have kept their eye on it since announcement. In short, Sea of Stars is a retro turn-based RPG inspired by classics. Indeed, it seems tactical turn-based RPGs have been getting a lot of attention lately with Sea of Stars, Persona 5 Tactica, and many others embracing the gameplay style. Story-wise, the game is about 2 children of the solstice, Valair and Zale, who combine powers of sun and moon to perform eclipse magic. Their story and journey sees them facing off with an antagonist known as the Fleshmancer. Features: turn-based combat, timed hits, multi-character combo attacks, a lock system, no random encounters, transitions, or grinding involved unshackled traversal. Sea of Stars boasts its traversal system which is not bound to a grid. Players will be able to travel seamlessly wherever their hearts desire. Gameplay features like sailing, cooking, and fishing. 2D pixel art. 6 playable characters. Ultimately, it seems PS Plus subscribers are eating good this month, and while August may be about halfway over, September isn't far away. That means the highly reviewed Baldur's Gate 3 will drop on PS5 and a whole new slate of PS Plus games will be revealed and added in the coming weeks. PS Plus subscribers get a handful of games every month. The Shadow of the Erdtree DLC is sure to answer some of Elden Ring's looming questions, but it shouldn't pull back the curtain too much. As Elden Ring fans eagerly await the arrival of Shadow of the Erdtree, many are wondering just how many lingering questions will be answered by the DLC. The base game, like most From Software titles, is overflowing with rich, complex, and sometimes confusing lore, much of which is vague or left open to interpretation and speculation. Fans are expecting some of these story elements to be clarified in the DLC, picking apart minor details of the Shadow of the Erdtree reveal image for any clues possible, but it might be best if the expansion keeps things vague and obtuse. When it comes to storytelling, From Software has a distinctive approach. Rather than revealing information by way of cutscenes, dialogue, or some other traditional narrative device, most details of the lore can be found by analyzing the game's environments and item descriptions. This style makes it so that much of the lore is missable and requires extra effort from players if they want to gain any sort of deeper understanding. While there is likely a portion of the Elden Ring player base that is wishing for some more concrete, digestible lore delivery in Shadow of the Erdtree, From Software should take care not to erase its identity for the sake of easier comprehension. Elden Ring has no shortage of lore. Whether a player wants to learn more about the Erdtree, the Greater Will, or the Golden Order and Radagon's extensive family tree, it's likely that From Software and George R.R. Martin have left behind a great deal of enticing info for them to discover. However, Elden Ring differs from other lore-rich video games, movies, or books in its method of delivery. Nothing is set in stone and very little is objective or outright shown to the player in a cutscene. This is no doubt frustrating to some players who want to easily understand the lore behind a game that they love, but it certainly has its merits. The way that Elden Ring presents its lore is more than just unique for the sake of being unique. The vagueness allows for a more engaging experience for the players, as they have to use their imagination to fill in the blanks of the story. There are many cases where an extremely complicated and dense history can be suggested through just a single sentence hidden in a paragraph of an item description. Yes, players have to put in extra work to understand this lore, but this strengthens the relationship that these players have to the game, as the story isn't just something they are passively consuming, but rather uncovering for themselves. Elden Ring lends itself to speculation more than most games, and this speculation is important to the game's identity. Aside from the passionate community of fans that subsists on theories about the game's interpretive nature allows for multiple different understandings. For example, some fans might think that Ranni is justified in her actions, while others might consider her one of the game's greatest villains, and a lot of this comes down to how individual players interpret the lore. If every detail were to be cleared up, then this important quality of the game would be lost. In many ways, Elden Ring is successful because it doesn't conform to what players expect from modern video games. It's brutally difficult, doesn't hold the player's hand, and isn't easy to comprehend. The treasure hunt nature of Elden Ring's lore is part of this unwillingness to conform, and is an inextricable part of its identity. Thus, Shadow of the Erdtree should lean into obscurity, shedding light on some parts of the story, but casting darker shadows on others. By doing this, the DLC can satiate players while leaving them hungry for more knowledge, keeping the community of the game alive for years to come. Elden Ring is available on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X/S. Before its arrival in September, CD Projekt Red will give another peek into its anticipated expansion for Cyberpunk 2077 at Gamescom 2023 this week. Gamescom is set to kick off on August 22nd, and amid a modest offering of game reveals and teaser trailers is a confirmed look into Phantom Liberty, touted as a massive rejuvenating addition to Cyberpunk 2077. In its final marketing push for the game's lone planned expansion, CD Projekt Red will be bringing the heat to Gamescom, drumming up hype for an expansion that could elevate Cyberpunk 2077 to the level of quality fans had anticipated ahead of its original 2020 release. In the years since its unsavory launch, CD Projekt Red has made a valiant effort to right the wrongs of Cyberpunk 2077 with a series of bug-squashing patches, updates to balance, and some oft-requested quality-of-life features. The quest to iron out its many wrinkles will hopefully reach fruition on September 26, when Phantom Liberty is unleashed on the public. Though it is best not to count the contraband chickens before they hatch, everything is aligned for Phantom Liberty to be one of the most significant and course-correcting game expansions in recent history. Jeff Keighley announced that Gamescom would host a gameplay reveal for Phantom Liberty on its opening night. So close to the expansion's release, the gameplay will more than likely be a robust glimpse into the revamped systems of the games, highlighting the numerous improvements for which the studio has been hard at work. Combat with new weapons, skills from redesigned talent trees, and more dynamic enemies with improved AI will hopefully be shown. It is also likely that fans will get a look into the all-new Dogtown district added to the game, showing off the work that has been put into the large addition to Cyberpunk 2077's playable space. What remains unclear is how much of the story CD Projekt Red will look to unveil at Gamescom. The high-stakes corporate espionage narrative will culminate in rescuing the president of the Noose, and how story newcomer Idris Elba as Solomon Reed factors in is one of the largest questions fans still have following the expansion's previous promotional material. Whatever is shown will look to avoid spoilers, but some added context into how V gets tangled up in the plot to rescue the leader of the free world might help ramp up excitement before launch. Despite the effort put in to address player feedback since Cyberpunk 2077 landed in late 2020, some still feel like CD Projekt Red is in damage control mode. To that end, it would be likely that the gameplay reveal for Phantom Liberty will hammer down on redesigned elements of the game that were weak at launch. Some footage of the way law enforcement response has been fixed is likely and preferable, for example, along with more fleshed-out underwater gameplay and drive-by shooting, both aspects that were severely lacking at launch. Though Phantom Liberty is Cyberpunk 2077's only planned expansion, its release will not punctuate the game's growth. From further balance patches in the modding community to the chance of the studio surprising fans with another expansion down the line, its future is full of possibilities. Nothing is certain until it releases, but between the studio's previous pedigree, the earnest assessment of its former errors, and the express commitment to set things right, there is optimism that Phantom Liberty could be a high point in a year that is already shaping up to be one of gaming's best, and Gamescom needs to represent that. Cyberpunk 2077 is available now on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, and Xbox Series X/S. Phantom Liberty launches on September 26.